Hi everyone, it's Teresa from Sewn Together here, and welcome to part 3 of our diamond attic windows sew along. So just to remind you, this is our gorgeous cushion that we are working on. So it is the Epiflex template pack called Diamond Attic Windows. We are up to part 3. So in part 1, we prepared all of our pieces. So I go through glue basting and thread basting for you. I'm a glue baster. I find I get the better results with that, but I know lots of you love thread basting, and that's perfectly okay because it's whatever works for you. So we go through that in part 1. In part 2, we start joining our components together. So at the moment, we've got 30 of these lovely little diamond shapes completed, and 2 different colorways, but 5 of each in these little triangle units. So today in part 3, we're going to start combining those together and completing our cushion top. Well, we won't complete it today, but we're getting closer. So we're going to start joining those components together. So I'm going to move the camera over and we can get started. So it's now time to start joining our diamond shapes together. And when you have a look at the layout guide that's included with your pattern pieces, you can lay out all of your 30 diamond shapes, and you can add in your triangles to the end of each section. Now, the easiest way that I find to join this together is actually in rows. So I have laid out the first few rows of the pattern just to get me sorted. And I'm going to start stitching these components together into rows. So what you'll notice, now before we go any further, I just want to just track back a little bit. After we completed our sections, some of our little tails we had moved out of the way to make it easier for us to stitch. So if you feel that you need to, you can actually come back and just give them back a press in place. So all I did was just lay them down, use my little iron, just gave those points back a little press, and they're sitting perfectly. Now you don't need to, it's perfectly fine if they're sticking out. They won't be in the way, you just move them. We are going to give the whole project a press on the back before we start removing our templates. Your Epiflex templates, of course, can be ironed. They are completely heat proof, so there's no problems about ironing them while you've got your templates in there. And they're quite safe to be reused afterwards, even after ironing. So we've got our first row, 1, 2, 3 rows joined together, or well, laid out, ready to join together. So it is now just simply a matter, I'm going to take these out of the way, and I'm going to focus just on this row here. Let's move all these pieces out of the way. And if we look at this section, which is just our first row, you can see that because we have folded the edges of our templates when we basted, we did them in all the same direction. When we come to stitch these together, our little tails nest beautifully. And if I flip that over, you can see that what's going to happen is our tails are going to continue to nest around in a circle, and they will sit beautifully flat when we come to quilt or when we have our cushion completed, so that we don't have lumps and bumps in our cushion. So it really is a simple matter of just joining your pieces together in a row. So I'm just going to match my edges up, and I am going to pop a little clip on there. Got my thread basted, and I know that a few of you have commented on how glad you are that you've learnt the figure 8 knot. I've heard a few other names for it. I have heard it called a lingerie knot, and I've also heard it called a stitcher's knot or a tailor's knot. I think a tailor's knot can be, there are a few different knots which are regarded as a tailor's knot, but I just call it a figure 8 knot, and it's fabulous. So I'm going to start stitching. Just going to come up into the corner and do my figure 8 knot in the corner. I do give a really good explanation of this knot in lesson 2 or week 2 if you do need to go back and review it. Okay. And I'm just going to stitch along. Until these two pieces are joined. Now, depending on how accurate you have been with your folding and basting, when we come to this end where we've got 3 sections meeting, I'm just going to pull those tails out of the way, and we want our last stitch to just meet all 3 of those little points up together. We'll be able to see it when you look at your individual work, and that last stitch through there needs to just align all of those little points so that we've got a nice neat corner and we've got a nice flat edge for when we join our rows together. So our task for this section is just simply to join all of our rows together. So we have one in the corner with our little segment on the side, and then we will continue with our pattern layout that's included, constructing all of our diagonal rows. Depending on which way you've put your lights and your darks, so if you have, if your dark is on this side, dark is down here, then your light triangles will go on here. If you have the light section on here, it's the dark pieces that will go. So it's the opposite to what you have. And then of course the remaining triangles go on the left hand side. So just continue your stitching into rows, and then our next section, part 4, we will look at joining our rows together. And we will also look at our remaining pieces that we have, which are our triangle and setting corners, almost like a background piece. We're going to deal with those, and we're going to stitch those on as well. And our cushion front will be complete. So enjoy your stitching. If you have any questions, don't forget, you can add them in the comments below. Or, of course, if you have any other questions, don't forget to go back and review parts 1 and 2 of the videos as well. And we hope you're enjoying this sew along, and we look forward to seeing your projects. So we'll see you next time. Bye.